Welcome to Armed Forces and Federal Ministries. My name is Ann Ratonia. I'm the Bishop Suffragan for Armed Forces and Federal Ministries for the Episcopal Church. Shortly, you will experience some of the most faithful, dedicated, and hard-working priests our military, Veterans Administration, and Bureau of Prisons chaplains. The messages that they will share with you are signs of hope for all those that they serve.
I'm Chandler Irwin. I'm a chaplain and lieutenant in the U.S. Navy, and I'm stationed at Arlington National Cemetery.
My name is Anna Broadbent. I am a first lieutenant, chaplain in the U.S. Army Reserve.
My name is Chaplain Lieutenant Colonel Mark Juchter. I am an active duty chaplain in the United States Air Force.
I am Chaplain Jacqueline Pippin. I am an active duty chaplain in the United States Air Force.
My name is Reinel Castro, one of the chaplains in the Bureau of Prisons.
My name is Andrea Baker, and I am a chaplain in the United States Army. My rank is Major, and this is Zach, who is a ministry dog that I have used in ministry since he came to me in Afghanistan in 2014.
What I think is special about the Chaplain Corps is that people never have to darken the door of a chapel to have the services of a chaplain. We are in their units, we are amongst them, and that enables us to serve them no matter what's going on in their life without them ever having to be religious or be even Episcopalian.
My parish is an entire base. It's a military installation. And so the people that I minister to are sometimes Episcopalians, but more often than not, Baptist, Jewish, Wiccan, atheist, agnostic, etc. I go out and I serve the men and women of the armed forces and their dependents, their families as well. So counseling and certainly religious services that are within my lane as a Protestant Christian, but then enabling other types of religious services to happen as well.
Army chaplains are with their soldiers. For the most part, where my soldiers go, I go. When they're doing PT in the morning, I'm in my PT uniform doing my best to keep up.
I served on a maximum security installation. We have roughly 2,500 inmates. We provide ministry for that population. There are two things in my mind and in my spirituality that these men didn't lose. They didn't lose their humanity and their dignity. And whether they believe it, reject it, embrace it, they did not stop being God's creation. They are God's children. And so when I come from that perspective, although can be dangerous, I always find it in my heart to really, really care for them.
Just as chaplains, folks turn to us, they trust us. We have complete confidentiality, and I think that opens up a layer of trust for folks that they might not have with obviously another leader or even going to behavioral health sometimes.
So if they're fearing for their well-being or fearing for losing their job, we are the only safe space to come and start with. And that really becomes a jumping point. A big part of my role is knowing my boundaries, knowing how I can help them, and then getting them to the people who they really might need to see for that help.
Commanders don't have peers within the unit. They are lonely at the top, and their chaplain is somebody that they can talk to. And I can also go talk to, private first class that just got out of AIT and is trying to find their place and questioning whether or not they should have ever joined the Army. It really, truly is a privilege.
Zach, I sort of joke that he is the best ministry tool I've ever had, and it's a joke, but it's not. He's adorable, right? Folks are downrange, they're missing their families, they're missing things that are soft, they're missing, an environment that feels safe and like home. And basically what I would do is, in the context of doing ministry of presence, I would take Zach around, and he was an immediate door opener for me.
I fought the call to ordain ministry in the Episcopal Church for quite some time, probably a good 10 years. And so I went down, met this chaplain at the Pentagon. He talked about the chaplaincy in the United States Air Force. And I came home thinking, yeah, that's it. And that's one of the reasons I like talking about this ministry. It's because up until that point, the only way I knew you could be a priest was a parish priest. That was all I'd ever heard of, and I didn't want that. It didn't feel like my call until I realized there were other ways to exercise this particular ministry. And that's kind of when all the pieces clicked together.
I did not grow up anywhere near anything military, knew very little about it. When I went to seminary, my expectation for myself and where I felt God was calling me was to parish ministry, school ministry potentially. While I was in seminary, I went on a date my senior year with my husband, happened to be a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps at the time, and on our first date, he said, "Have you thought about military chaplaincy?" Gave him a big nope. Didn't think about it, put that behind. Now married, both still serving active duty. And so I guess the answer to his question ended up being, I guess I will think about military chaplaincy. Because of him, my eyes were opened to a world that I didn't know about in the military. And I learned about a great need for service members. Particularly, we ask a lot of them, especially 18 to 26-year-olds, the bulk of who we serve.
I think I find Jesus in knowing that I'm serving his people. That really came alive for me this past fall during Operation Allies Refuge when we were evacuating Afghanistan refugees. I worked all night while we processed in 800 people that evening. We got them cots, we got them a warm meal, and they were terrified. I was working in an area where we had mothers and children, and men could not enter that area. And because of that, there were these moments when families were getting checked in that I would have to take one of the child out of the husband's arms because the mom was already holding two and the husband was holding the third, and the mom needed help getting her family to their cots. And so this man who has escaped the country that was his home for a better life for his family, then had to trust me, someone that he saw in uniform. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know what I do, but he knew that we were trying to create a safe space for his family. And those moments when those people, when those parents trusted us with their children was really one of those moments where I think we are showing people Christ-like compassion. We are showing people, what the Holy Spirit looks like in the world.
Years ago, a senior chaplain, not of my faith group, asked me, he said, "Why do you do this? What is it that brings you to the chaplaincy?" And I was surprised to say, without hesitating, I could answer, it's because I love airmen, and I want them to know they're loved by somebody, even if they don't believe in God. Well, that love, for me, comes from Jesus. That love is Jesus. Whether or not that person's Christian or not, that compels me to do what I do.
As a Christian chaplain, you would ask myself, well, but chaps, how do you serve the Muslims? How do you serve the pagans? How do you serve the santeros? And my answer is, God exists and lives in every single human being. Sometimes they don't know it. I'm never going to treat you less than my brother. In my book, you are my brother. And that's how I'm going to treat you. And so that's how I find Jesus in each one of them.
Now, I was interviewing this young woman. I could just tell that she was tense. So I paused the interview and I just said, "What's going on?" And she kind of leaned back and she said, "Chaplain, I'm gay. You hate me, I hate you. I don't want to be here." Now, I don't know all of her history and what other interactions have been like with chaplains, but that moment broke my heart. But I was also given the opportunity to say, actually, I love you. And I love how God has created you to be and all the different ways that you show up as who you are. And we ended up having this phenomenal conversation. She interviewed very well. And at the end, she said, "Well, Chaplain, my wife is Catholic. I'm non-denominational. We'd love to find a church. What kind of church should we go to? Or what churches should I check out?" And what an amazing opportunity that was.
I think that is largely what the Chaplain Corps does. We give people space to exist in exactly who they are, and we support them through that. And I think that's really the magic of it, and I think those are the moments that feed me, to know that people are happy and warm and comforted because of the work that we do.
There's so much pain and hurt in the world, and I've lived through enough in life myself now. Life's hard. Life is really hard. And if chaplains can do something to bring that spiritual component into somebody's life so that they feel grounded, and in that there's also resurrection and rebirth and renewal.
It's the helping people get from a darker place to a lighter place, or if that's not possible, just sharing the darker place with them. Of course, we share the happy moments too, but yeah, I think it really is fulfilling to see somebody find out that they thought they were in a corner, and no, there is actually a way out.
I get to see this breadth of people, breadth of beliefs, and I get to spend time with them, and they welcome me into their spaces. And so it's almost like it's church every day.
The sacrifice for me, the sacrifice for my family is well worth it for the reward that I get simply by being able to be in relationship with people that my path would just not cross, and who I guarantee would never open the door to my church.